Hi everyone, it's Mr. V, and this is a video on the Law of Superposition. And in case you missed the Zoom class yesterday, I'm going to put this video up on YouTube to help you complete this assignment. In this activity, you are a geologist who's trying to reconstruct a dig site in terms of its rock layers and fossils. And you've recorded all your notes on this notepad, and you want to refer to this notepad throughout the entire activity. The first thing you want to do is fill out the information on the page that looks like this. And so you want to fill out the location, institution, age of site, and then your name would go where it says student geologists. And I've typed up the information there for you to see. Paleozoic and Mesozoic refers to these ancient time periods, and it spans roughly from 66 million years ago to 542 million years ago. So starting with your notes, you want to examine the rock layers in the Black Hills, and there's different rock layers that you discovered, and they are an extrusion, a limestone, sandstone, and shale rock layer, and it gives you the ages. So you want to go to that piece of paper with all the rock layers, and I've colored them here on my computer, and I've also colored the fossils. And you can either do this like I'm doing it on a computer, or you can cut them out. It's really up to you. So looking at my notes, it gives me the ages for these different rock layers in millions of years. Now, what I'm going to use to order them is called the Law of Superposition. And what this states is that the oldest rock layers and fossils are found below the younger ones. So that means that the deeper you go, the rock layers and fossils get older, and the youngest rock layers and fossils are found closer to the surface. So knowing that principle, the sandstone is the oldest rock layer because it is 525 million years old, and so that must go on the bottom. This must have formed first. The next oldest layer is the extrusion, which is 340 million years old. That must go above the sandstone. The limestone is 270 million years old, so that's actually younger than these other two, so it must go above them. And the shale is the youngest layer because it is 265 million years old, and that must go at the top. So using the law of superposition, I can say that the sandstone must be at the bottom, while the shale must be at the top, and these other rock layers, depending on their age, are in the middle. This is also called relative dating because what you're doing is you're comparing the age of one rock layer to another. So you could say that the shale is younger in the limestone, extrusion, and sandstone. Or you could say that the limestone is older than the shale, but younger than the extrusion. So again, relative age is you're comparing the rock layers' ages to one another. The sandstone is older than the extrusion, limestone, and shale. Finally, you have this other one that's called an intrusion. And intrusions are not sedimentary rock. They're actually formed from magma. An intrusion occurs, and we learn this with volcanoes, when magma hardens into rock inside the earth. And what can happen is it can actually cut through layers of rock. And we learned about forms that occur, such as dikes, sills, and batholiths. So this one, it's saying that the igneous intrusion cut through the three bottom layers. So what you want to do is, I'm going to flip this and make it so that it cuts just through the bottom three layers. So the intrusion cuts through the bottom three layers. Intrusions are always younger than the other rock layers they cut through because these layers must have formed first, one on top of the other, and then the intrusion cut through them afterwards. So although it doesn't give us a date, the igneous intrusion must be the youngest rock layer. Finally, we're going to put the fossils in the correct layer because fossils formed in certain layers, and they will be the same age as the rock layer that they formed in. So the sandstone has the oldest fossils. It has 2 trilobites. And if you don't know what trilobites are, there are these type of extinct marine animal, and they're also on your key. So the bottom sandstone layer contains 2 trilobites, 1 reptile, and 1 fish. So I'm just going to drag these in here. Now, extrusions can't contain any fossils because they're also formed from magma. And extrusion usually refers to magma that reaches the surface as lava. So at some point before the limestone and shale formed on top of the extrusion, this extrusion was lava on the surface, which hardened into rock. Extrusions can't contain any fossils because they would melt the fossils, they would destroy them. The same thing goes for intrusions. The middle sedimentary layer must be the layer of limestone because the extrusion can't contain any fossils. So the limestone contains 2 fish, 3 dinosaur fossils, and 1 reptile fossil. The top rock layer, which is shale, contains the youngest fossils, and that is the whale, 1 whale fossil, 1 fish, 1 reptile, and 2 bird fossils. Drag them in here. So finally, I'm going to write the ages of the reconstructed dig site, the layers of rock, and the fossils. So the sandstone is 525 million years old. The extrusion is 340 million years old. The limestone is 270 million years old. By the way, the fossils that are located in each layer are also the same age. And the shale is the youngest layer, and it's 265 million years old. So in summary, we use this law of superposition, stating that the oldest layers and fossils are located deeper, while the youngest layers and fossils are located above. Hopefully this video helps, and I'll see you in classroom.